disheartened, right? So the slide which you are seeing, what is the common thing what you see from all these four people, right? So they were passionate in their domains, right? It may be Swami Vivekananda, Shankar Nag, Abdul Kalam, and our Punit Rajkumar. So Dr. Abdul Kalam and Dr. Punit Rajkumar, Shankar Nag, and Vivekananda, all these four people were passionate and had human values in their mind, right? So the passion driven them to make what they wanted to achieve in their goal, in their life. So Swami Vivekananda was philosophical thought. He was focused more towards education and he was a great thinker. In fact, I don't want to talk much about him. We all know about his passionate domain. And Shankar Nag was a great actor who thought in 1980s to bring metro to Bangalore, right? And he's very creative and greatest artist, a theater person, and today many people remember him, right? So likewise, Dr. Abdul Kalam, who is loved by every student. Till now, many students remember him, and he's the president of India, and also he's a missile man of India, right? So likewise, our Punit Rajkumar, who lived and showed how we can transform education by through his movies or through their initiatives, right? What are the initiatives they have done for the education sector? So by seeing them, in fact, I also got inspired by one book, right? Next slide. Sorry, I can use. So this is the book which inspired me a lot, right? Ignited Minds. Today, whatever I am today, right? Because my marks didn't help me a lot. Marks, what are the marks? Degrees, I have 3 master degrees, in fact. So an average student can achieve a 3 master degree. So that shows the passion, right? I have a master's in physics, master's in computer science, then master's in education, then Ph.D. in education. So it was just, I'm not boasting about myself. I'm just telling everyone that if you have passion to do something, right, just follow it. So I just followed the words which is written in this book called Ignited Minds by Abdul Kalam. He has lots of thoughts in this book to transform the country like India, where he has written even a lot of things in his Vision 2020 book, Wings of Fire, right? So this book really made me think a lot of education sector. And that's where I moved from the education sector. I didn't tell, I also worked with Dr. Gururaj before I got into the corporate domain, a tech domain. Dr. Gururaj Karjagi was one more inspirational person for me to think about education sector, right? So Ignited Minds, then my journey moved towards Academy for Creative Computing. So after having 15 years of experience in computer science domain, in IT sector, major IT company, and especially the domain which I am working is cybersecurity domain, which is like a selling point for many institutions, right? Many engineering colleges. I do go and talk to many engineering institutions, and many students comes to me. They used to come and ask one question: sir, this domain is good. Whether I should take AI/ML, sir, whether I should take robotics. Then I said, no. Whichever domain you choose, be passionate, right? So don't think about only technology can solve the problem. Even language can solve a problem, right? If you take English or if you take Kannada or any kind of literatures, right? If you pursue a career in those areas also, you can solve most of the problems that we have in the community. Then that's where I guide them. I don't solve the problem, I guide them. So what we did is, through my programs, I empower communities through technology and leadership. So I have formed my own team. It's a non-profit organization, Academy for Creative Computing, which is part of Vidyadhara Foundation. It's a non-profit organization, APJ exempted organization, which started last year, 2023, December. And within 1 year, we have done 200 programs. And most of the programs happens on weekends and virtual. So then I started identifying a school. So what I did is, when I did my B.Ed program, I have lots of my classmates who are government school teachers, right? So now my thought focus was like, identify those schools where my classmates are teaching in those schools, because that becomes very close connection for me. So that I identify a school in Magadi. It's a government high school, Bachanetti Government High School. We have 200 students in that school, right? So in that school, there was no lab. Means there was a lab. During Corona time, what happened? There was a theft happened. All the desktops were stolen from the lab. An entire lab was shut down. And only they used to go to that room for, there was a small digital TV which has been sponsored by one of the tech company. So for that TV, they used to go and see some YouTube videos and learn the subject. But there was nothing like computer science lab. So what we did is, we went and spoke to my classmate. Her name is Asha, who teaches science, physics and maths there. I told her, see, we wanted to adopt this school, not school, the computer science lab. And we are not looking at numbers. We said we don't want big numbers. So what I did is, straight away, I saw the lab. So all the wiring was nothing. There was nothing like wiring. Switchboard was gone because almost 5 to 6 years. Painting was gone. Painting was not really in the good shape. Then immediately I spoke to my 11 team members who work for different IT companies. Some of them are HRs. Then we mobilized the funds from our own pockets. We never asked anyone. Then what we did, we immediately started painting the walls, then wiring the switchboards. Then what you see is that, right? I'll show some of the pictures. So 60% of, why I am telling this is, today, many of the institutions, many of the private institutions, they have all the facilities, right? And most of the facilities not used 100%, including the computer science lab. And there are institutions like this where they need technology. Not technology to solve big problems, technology to connect with the people and understand what exactly they're lacking when they come out of the school education. Right? Today, that problem we are solving in smaller steps. We don't want to say, I am adopted 10 schools, 20 schools. No, I'm not looking for the numbers. My NGO, my organization is not looking for the numbers. You take one school at a time or one lab at a time, sustainable. Make it sustainable lab. You might be asking, how you're sustaining this lab? I'm using Raspberry Pi, a small credit card size CPU or a device which can be used to connect to the simple, it's a carryable, movable. So what I do, I know there is if you leave there, somebody can steal and all. So you can carry in your pocket. Whenever you go, I'll go twice in a week. And my team members also, they come in the weekend. And we carry the device, 10 devices we have installed, Raspberry Pi. So we have left the monitors, we have left, keyboard we have left, mouse also we have left. So only this device we take, whenever we have class, we go, we plug in, and we start teaching basic computing. Don't teach any advanced programming and all. Teach them what is internet, how to create an email ID, how to browse, then components of the architecture of computer. So only these things you teach them, basics. Don't teach them advanced thing and all. Then we started teaching these things, and there were some of the students, 90% of them coming from farming background, okay? And I saw one student literally 15 days back, November 14th, we inaugurated this lab. On the Children's Day, on the occasion of Children's Day, I wanted to give this as a gift to the children. So November 14th, we inaugurated this lab, and we started the classes regularly, at least twice in a week. I saw one child was crying, because I asked her, why you are crying? She said, for the first time, I am touching the keyboard. For the first time. She was literally shivering to type on the keypads. Then there was one more student who was struggling to hold the mouse. He was not even aware what to do with the mouse also. And then I told him, these are buttons, 3 buttons, right button, left button, and middle scroll button. So you have to use these buttons to get more and more options that you will be learning in coming days. See, these are the people who are first generation learners, right? So our impact should be in such a way that we should sustain such kind of models, not by numbers, right? Now, what we are doing is to sustain this lab, right? There are so many slides, but I want to go in a flow. To sustain this lab, I have come up with 2 plans. One is student outreach program. So last month, in the month of September, I invited BSc Computer Science students, finalist students from St. Joseph University. All 35 students had come from city center to Bachanetti School, which is a government high school, which is there in Magadi. Magadi, 45 kilometers. They came early in the morning. All these 35 students, I made in a group of 15 groups. and each group adds some 14 to 15 students, right? And they were given topics. 6 hours they spent from morning to afternoon. They just spoke to the children and taught them basics of computing, nothing else. They did small change. So I don't say they made a big change, but basics of computing, they brought their laptops and they gave their laptops to the students, right? So this is one model which I'm looking, student sustainable model, by bringing the students from various colleges and universities, come and teach. Then what I'll be giving to them, I'll be organizing the free webinars, free workshops, community meetups with latest technology domains, whatever they want to learn to upskill them. So this is a plan what we are doing. Already we have done so many workshops and training programs for free of cost through online or through offline also, because I am part of so many communities, tech communities, where I have been requesting to collaborate with so many other organizations. They are ready to help them. So this is what I'm giving back to the student community. Second model what I'm looking at is teacher model. So I'm part of Computer Science Teachers Association, CSTA, Vice President of India, which CSTA is a global community, which is predominantly, we have 48 chapters in US. So through this CSTA model, I am making all the teachers to come in one single umbrella. I provide the upskilling programs to them virtually or offline, and I am asking them to give back one day in their entire academic year to come and teach into the government school, right? So entire year I'll give free training programs, at least 2 training programs in a month on your subject, that is computer science, on latest trends and technologies. So you give me one day. So this is a teachers outreach program. So this model is work. These 2 models, if I sustain, probably I can adopt even one more school and make it more sustainable also, right? So that is about that model. So this is the new lab and the vision of creativity, innovation and community impact, which I have spoken already. And dream, build, innovate. So we want to do hackathon events, because I was the first person to coin hackathon event way back in 2013 HP, because I was part of RHOK, Random Acts of Kindness. RHOK was the first hackathon. It's a hackathon stepping stones, I can say. RHOK was. So we want to create applications for good cause, community purpose, right? So hackathon is all about creating the good cause applications so that community get helped, or community gets benefited in a larger way. So we want to create that environment among the government school children, right? So we wanted to, I want them to become more creative, innovative, so that we also compete like China like country to be a skill developed country, right? So that's a problem, that's a program we are planning in coming days. Then we have empathy, collaboration and ripple effect. When I did my Ph.D. in leadership, especially focusing on social leadership development among school children, right? I came across a review of literature on social change model for leadership development. So social change model in leadership development is, right? So especially I don't want to go in depth. So 3 things we focus mainly. One is individual values, second one is group values, and third one is community values. So individual values is all up to your personality, your traits, how you develop. Second is group values. When you are in the group, so collaboration will happen, right? So that's how we want to develop the group values among the youngsters today. Third one is community values. Today, how many schools and colleges they have NSS programs or NCC program or Scouts and Guides program? So many of the institutions, I don't want to name any institutions because I am coming from a scouting background. That's where today if I'm standing in front of you, it's because of the values that I got from scouting and guiding programs, right? So I wanted institutions to have this kind of programs in their academics or institutions so that children get to learn these 3 things. One is individual values, then second one is group value, and third one is community values. Community values focuses more on citizenship, okay? Change makers, they are change makers. So they have to be, we have to instill these kind of things at early stage of their career, especially in the school, when they're in the school or when they get into the PUC, right? So because we know how it's distractful during early age of 14 to 16 or 18, right? If you don't mentor them or if you don't guide them during this stage, then they can be distractful or they can destroy themselves or they can also misguided by many other people also, right? So empathy, listen to the community problem. That's what I wanted to add here. So understand the community problem, design the solution for the community problem. Collaboration, collaborate with other NGOs. Today many think that you should not become competitor. Collaborate. So there are other NGOs who wanted to help the students, right? I was reading one NGO which is there in Whitefield itself. They adopted a government school for reading habits, encouraging the students to read. It's a read-a-thon, or you call it read-a-thon, right? So entire 3 months they make the children to learn, read the books, story books, and they have to write, come up with their own stories and explain to the audience what they read, right? So such kind of NGOs are there. So collaborate with them. I want to bring them to my adopted school also, right? That's a plan. That's a part of the collaboration. And collaborate with tech companies. Today we talk about CSR funds and all, right? So this is sustainable. This is the only thing we can sustain the model. So you can't put money from your pocket every time, but you have to find somebody who's doing already this kind of models and bring them to the community and ask them to help your projects. Then I'm also collaborating with the tech communities. Today we have ISACA, CSA, about Cloud Security Alliance, Cybersecurity Consortium. Then we also have IoT Security Foundation, Bangalore chapter. So there are so many chapters, tech chapters in Bangalore itself. As their volunteership, call those members to be part of your program, right? So then ripple effect. If you educate one child in a government school, you are creating a ripple effect. Means the child can become a transformer in their family. He can become a bread earner or breadwinner for the family, right? So that ripple effect, if you continue to do from your projects, that's going to transform the entire community, right? So together we can reach the divide and empower the leaders tomorrow. And this is the entire picture which I was talking in my initial slides. That was a lab, what you can see. See, I'm not telling India is a country, I don't want to tell India is a poor country, right? I want to tell India is a developed nation. So still, after independence of we got independence by 75 years back, right? 1947, and we are closing towards 100 years. But still, how long you want to see these pictures? Tell me, right? Each one of us can be a change maker, in my opinion. Let's make every student in our classroom a change maker. Then only we can solve this problem. At least when we celebrate 100 years of our independence, right? We should see 0 schools like this in our community. And we should never close any government schools, right? None of the government schools get closed, because that is where we can bring a creative personification, or we can bring the creative thought leaders. Okay, so this is just a transformation we did with these 2 labs. And is a student who was from St. Joseph University, who came all over from Bangalore, and they taught teaching the basics of computing. Just before I end my talk, right? So when one child dares to dream, builds something remarkable, and innovates with purpose, they inspire others. Together they create ripples that transform entire communities. Dream, build, innovate, not just for yourself, but for those who cannot yet imagine what is possible, because leadership isn't about being the best, it's about enabling others to rise with you. And the last quote, I always remember, I never forget this quote by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, which has stolen our hearts and which is still inspiring many youngsters in this country and abroad also. In fact, dream is not that which you see while sleeping. It is something that does not let you sleep. By this, I thank everyone for listening my words patiently. This is just a passionately I did, managing my regular work and passionately doing this kind of activities over the weekends and building a team, passionate team who comes from various corporate backgrounds, and my own team, and making this model sustainable is one of the dream, right? So by this, I end my talk. call for action is there,